Welcome to Hananiah Theological College. It is a communicative skills course in Law 101, Lesson 3. Now, this lesson is a continuation from our previous two lessons. If you remember, in our previous lesson, Lesson 1, we tried to introduce communicative English skills in general, the meaning of communications, and all related concepts which laid the foundation for our course. On our second lesson, we went through listening skills, on developing English listening skills. Now this is the third lesson, which is on developing English speaking skill. So let's introduce the speaking skills lesson outline. Now, throughout the course, we will be covering the following topics. Number 1, developing fluency and accuracy, and we'll try to see what fluency and accuracy is in the context of speaking. And we will see speaking learning theories. We have two major theories, input hypothesis and output hypothesis, and speaking practice techniques, including shadowing, role-playing, and record-reading. Speaking learning strategies will be our fourth section, which we're going to cover on setting specific goals, creating a language model, seeking feedback, embracing mistakes, and use technology will be the learning strategies we're going to cover. And finally, we'll be given English speaking activities. Just like you have been given listening activities, you'll be given speaking activities on the basis of speaking practice techniques. So let's move to the first section. That's the concept of accuracy and fluency. So when you decide to learn speaking or listening, these oral communicative skills, you need to understand the concept fluency and accuracy. These two concepts are not restricted only for speaking and listening, but also we can also use them for writing and reading. But specifically, when we define fluency in the context of speaking, fluency means it's the ability to speak or write a language easily, well, and quickly. So fluency revolves around the ability to speak smoothly, confidently, and without unnecessary pauses or hesitations, even if some mistakes occur. So this is a point. If we say that somebody is a fluent speaker of the language, it means the person is able to speak with ease. So he's not like thinking every other minute or using too much gap fillers. He simply speaks. But when he simply speaks, it doesn't mean that he doesn't make a mistake. He probably make a couple of mistakes or more in terms of grammar. Sometimes his pronunciation or accent or intonation might be wrong. But if he would like to, or if he is able to speak and communicate his ideas freely, easily, we call that person is a fluent speaker of that language. So fluency will be clear when we define accuracy. Accuracy, on the other hand, it refers to the correctness and precision of language use. It encompassing proper grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, on the other hand. So you can compare fluency and accuracy. Which one do we think is more important? So in this context, we cannot say that this one is more important than this. Both fluency and accuracy are important, but they have levels. So your first objective, your first purpose should be to be a fluent speaker. After you become a fluent speaker, obviously because you make some mistakes, you have to refine your speaking fluency so that to become accurate. So an accurate speaker is the one who should be fluent. So if you are a fluent and accurate speaker, that is a native-like speaking or a speaker. So this is a major difference between fluency and accuracy. So think about expressing your ideas, your thoughts freely without worried about much making about mistakes. So if in case you make mistakes, just don't worry. Go to speak. Try to express your thoughts and your feelings in any way you like to express. That is the point of fluency. So let's go to the second section. That's about speaking learning theories. So learning theories are theories which are important for individuals to understand the principles, the philosophies, how to learn things. So in this context, we are talking about learning speaking theories, or learning theories of speaking, or speaking learning theories. So in general, in psychology, educational psychology, we do have different theories of learning. But when we have to come to speaking, specifically these oral communicative skills, we have two hypotheses which are very popular. According to linguists Stephen Christian and Meryl Swin, there are two equally important speaking learning theories. The first one is called input hypothesis. What kind of theory is input hypothesis? So if you want to learn the language, if you want to learn speaking or English speaking, if you would like to develop your English speaking skills, the first thing you need to understand is language can be learned, or spoken language can be learned, or language acquisition, whether it is native language or second language or foreign language, it occurs when learners are exposed to a comprehensible input. So this is the first hypothesis. That means, for example, you can think of kids, very small kids which are like 1 year old or 2, the one who start learning the language, who are just uttering. So if we want those kids, those babies to learn the language, we have to immerse them. There should be exposure. Those kids should keep listening and listening and listening. So when they listen, when adults are speaking, they grab vocabularies, they learn grammar patterns, they learn syntax and pronunciations and accents and everything. So that is the first hypothesis. We have to have input. If our brain has input, then it is possible to learn the language, because our brain has a specific faculty to process that input and generate language, words, sounds, and grammars and patterns. To develop fluency and accuracy, it is crucial to immerse oneself in English-speaking environments, such as watching movies, listening to podcasts or radios, or engaging in conversation with native speakers. So that's what you should do first. So you probably want to learn speaking language or English speaking very quickly. So the first thing you should do is expose yourself for plenty of sources which can help you to have numerous inputs. So if you keep watching movies in English with no translation, you have plenty of expression learning from that movies. Or if you just keep listening news, for example, maybe BBC or CNN or Al Jazeera, anything which is in English, broadcasting in English, if you are listening that, or podcasts in English, or recordings, or YouTube videos, or anything which is recorded in English, that is called input. You have input, therefore you will be able to learn all kinds of all aspects of the language through listening and getting the input. That's the first hypothesis. But the other one is, it's not only input hypothesis, but also Meryl Swin says output hypothesis is also important. So if we want our students to learn the language, we must give them the opportunity to practice. That's what we call it, output hypothesis. So the hypothesis is learners also need opportunities for output. They should get opportunities, they should get the chance. So if you don't get the chance to speak out, if you don't get the chance to practice whatever you have the input, it's really not possible to learn the language very quickly. That's another hypothesis, another theory of speaking language, or speaking practice to solidify their language skills. So if you want to solidify or to master the language skills, you have to have the chance to practice your speaking. How can you get the chance? Actively engaging in conversations is one of the aspects, like participating in language exchange programs or joining speaking clubs can provide value, practice, and feedback. Now you are learning in a remote or a distance context, but if you are in real college or university, there are clubs, like language clubs, which is a combination of people who are interested to practice their language. So if they are Chinese speakers or Chinese language students, so all interested speakers will come together and try to practice either with native language or each other. Just like that, if you are even at home, you have to create a context where you are trying to practice your English with your family members or your friends, or in other contexts, if you get a co-workers who only speaks English, if you try to speak English, then you can develop your language skill. That's what we call it output hypothesis. You must get the opportunity to practice your English. So getting sufficient input by listening radios and televisions or watching English movies is one aspect, but it's not sufficient. The other time, you have to practice whatever you get. So these are the two hypotheses or the two theories which helps you to learn the language. So why we are talking this? Because you need to understand the science behind the learning language. Once you get this theory, when you have understood how language can be learned, it is easy for you to decide and to devise your strategies and go for it. So let me move to the other one. The other one is a strategy. So we already stated that there are strategies which helps you to learn a language. So for example, speaking learning strategies might be numerous, but these are the most important concepts which have been studied now and again. So the first strategy means, by the way, is the best way you may choose in order to continue with your language development or your skill development. So that is the methods. Specific methods are called strategies. Like set specific goals is the first step. That means now you are learning communicative English skills, and one of the chapters in communicative English skills is learning speaking skills. Once you have this, you have to have a set of goals, or you have to set your goal. Because if you don't have a goal, there is nothing that you can achieve. Your goal might be, well, I must practice or I must improve my English speaking fluency this year. By this semester, I will improve my English language speaking fluency or accuracy. So if you feel that you are fluent already, try to have a goal saying that I will improve my language speaking accuracy. If you are not really good speaker at all, if you are not fluent at all, you have to set a goal saying I will be able to develop my English speaking fluency. So once you have this in your mind, it can never let you go without doing it. Every time you wake up in the morning, you have this goal in your mind. You probably need to post it somewhere in your office or in your residential home so that you can see it every day. That's your goal. So this is your goal. You will be creating language routine is the second step. So what's that language routine? That language routine means, because you have the goal, in order to achieve your goal, you have to put a routine. A routine means something that you always do, you repeatedly do, something that you do even without thinking. That's called routine. So when you say it's language routine, for example, you say, well, every morning for the first 30 minutes after you do something, you fit or you set a goal that I will be listening an English radio broadcasting or podcasts for 30 minutes. That's your routine. Every day you never went to work or you never go to work without accomplishing that goal. That is your routine. Just like people set up, well, every day I will pray before I do everything. That is your routine, your daily routine. Just like you have a schedule for your prayer, you have to have a language routine, listening for this amount of time. There are also audiobooks. You can also listen audiobooks either in earphone, or if you are driving, you can play on your speaker, your car speaker, and listen while you are traveling. Or you might say, well, every night before I went to bed, I have to watch international movies from CNN or BBC or Al Jazeera or France 24 or whatever international station you can get, or you have exposure for native speakers for about 1 hour, if you say like that. Or you say, I have to watch an English movie, maybe drama, for about 2 hours once in a week. So you have to have this kinds of language routine. Why we need the routine? Because language has to be developed day after day. If you watch one day, if you listen one day and forget the next 2 weeks and come back again, you start like anew. But if you make it a routine, you will develop and develop and develop. So your language skill development will be very quick. That's why you need to create a language routine. So set specific goals is number 1, language routine is number 2, and number 3 is seek feedback. Feedback means you have to ask comments, how you speak, how your language is going, how your spoken is going. So if you are speaking or if you are practicing your friends, you try to speak or you make a kind of presentation and say, how do you find how I speak? They say, well, you are good, but you need to improve your pronunciation. So you work on your pronunciation. Or they say, well, you are good, but you have made this and this grammar mistakes. So they are suggesting you on your accuracy. You work out on that. So feedback is very important. Do not afraid of feedback, which take us to the last strategy, which says embrace mistakes. Embrace mistakes. That means do not afraid of making mistakes. English is not your native language. It's your second language, or maybe it's foreign language, third, fourth language. So if you make mistakes, it's not a worry. There is no problem, because it is through mistakes that you can learn. When you do mistake today, you can learn something from that mistake. So if you are afraid of mistakes and do not practice, then you cannot improve. But if you are not afraid of mistakes, just speak out, try to be fluent as possible, and in case if you are making a mistake, just don't worry, that's an opportunity for you to learn. So these are the learning strategies you need to master so that you will be able to develop your English speaking skills very quick. The other point, speaking practice techniques. Now we have seen that speaking practice techniques, using those strategies, language learners, we have to allocate sufficient practice time to develop speaking skills. But what kind of techniques can we use to develop our listening skills? The one which we saw earlier are those strategies. Now, using those strategies, you need to have methods or techniques to practice. Now we will be looking at the 3 main or commonly known techniques. The first one is called shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to a native speaker and you repeat the word. For example, if you like to speak just like the native speakers do, if you like to pronounce the words just like they pronounce or native speaker pronounce, try to listen them carefully and repeat the word. If they are speaking a sentence, try to repeat the sentence exactly as they do. Once you do that, usually you repeat it, what we call it shadowing. You have plenty of shadowing exercise. Amazingly, you will improve your language proficiency to the highest level. So shadowing is very, very important, because even our native speakers is developed through shadowing. We, as a kid, listen how adults speak, and we speak just like they do. That's how we develop. So even for foreign language, for English speaking, you have to do the same thing. That's called shadowing. The second one is role playing. Role playing is another important technique which helps you to develop your English speaking skills. What is that? Role playing is a kind of drama. So you might do like with your friends or your family members or anyone who is interested to learn the language or to help you develop your language, take some roles. You might be a doctor and your friend will be a patient. So try to play like a doctor and a patient. Some other time, act like you are a visitor and he's a tourist guide. Some other time, act like you are the boss and he's a kitchen chef. Other times, act like you're a professor and your friend is a student. So try to take different roles and speak on those roles. Then, in real life context, if you are come across with any kind of role, any kind of context, you will have the courage and the confidence to speak because you already have plenty of role play exercises. So you might get YouTube videos which helps you to learn or to exercise those role plays. So this is the second technique. So this is the most important thing, shadowing and role playing. And the third one is record and review. So especially people like you who are learning the language skills independently by yourself, you must use your recorder. So your cell phone has recorders today, or you can have any kind of special kind of recorder. So try to speak, try to make some kind of speech, or try to record your role play and repeat it, play it back, and listen to how you were speaking. So if you are really happy with what you do, well, keep going. If you feel like there is something wrong in your own spoken English, spoken utterances, try to improve. That's what we call it, record and review. These are the most important techniques which students should practice, should make use of to develop their language skills. We're talking about English listening skills, English speaking skills, but you can use these strategies, this technique for any language, not only for English as well. So, this is the end of our lessons, and if you have any questions, you can contact us. But before that, we are going to give you exercises. So we have listening exercises, those listening and those speaking exercises will be given to you by your course coordinators. You will be given links from YouTube. Try to listen and exercise using that YouTube videos and try to help yourself, because speaking skills and listening skills are an individual activity. It's you who should help yourself to develop your language skills. What we should do here is we have to facilitate the situation. We need to tell you the techniques. We need to tell you the strategies. We need to tell you the philosophies and the theories. Once you have this in your mind, take your time, try to take those YouTube videos and give sufficient time, make your routines, and try to exercise as many hours as possible. So the one who exercises for many hours will learn the language speaking and the language listening very quick. Those of you who are not practicing every day or who do not create a language routine may not develop your language skills very quick. So everything is on your hands. If you have any question, you can ask us so that we will elaborate. So this will bring us the end of our session. So if you have any questions, you can call us or email to us and we'll be answering your questions. So do not forget to exercise with the links we are given, you will be given on your next to your videos. Thank you so much.